Okay, yeah, you can whoop. Oh, you can whoop louder than that. Yes, that is what I'm talking about. Okay. And I love y'all. Y'all were like, we are not leaving our balcony seats. No one can see me. He was not talking to me. You're like, oh, I wonder who he's talking to. Yeah, okay. I understand. I understand. How are y'all doing? How are you all doing? Yes, I know it's been an incredible day, and this is just the beginning. I'm so happy to be here. Also, I clearly cannot stand behind a podium. I'm like, look at my pants. But I will look at my phone because that's what we do now when we say things that are written down. First of all, let me introduce myself properly. My name is Fazia Mirza. I am a writer and director and a producer. And on this film, I am one of the executive producers involved in the film that we're going to be screening tonight. Now, let me tell you something. This is really exciting. You know why? Because the movie that we are about to see, Survivor Made, has never, ever been screened for an audience before. Yeah, you're the first. You're getting a sneak peek at a movie that it isn't releasing widely until later this year, and which is pretty cool. And the reason we wanted to share the film here at this conference with you is because of you. Truly, like, we honor you, we care about you. The people in this room are the ones who are working to end gender-based violence. You are the people who are on the front lines of this work every day as administrators, activists, advocates. You've centered your lives around a cause that's too often silenced. So whoop for yourselves. Woo! Yes. Yeah, I mean, you stopped very quickly. Clapping for yourselves, which I understand. We're like, no, thank you, stop talking about me. This is enough. And also, I've lost my place, so I was buying time. Now listen, I'm thrilled to be here. I love Chicago. I lived in Chicago for 17 years. Yes! A couple of you know me from that time, and we have stories to tell. Don't tell them tonight. This city is a home to me. It shaped me. It's the city where I found my voice. And I gotta tell you, me as a human being, art saved my life. Art saved my life, and specifically movies saved my life. Making and sharing movies is how I was able to come out and be the queer Muslim Pakistani person that is standing before you in these pants. Now look, I betrayed y'all and I live in Los Angeles now. I work in Hollywood. And here's what I learned in Hollywood. It's a pyramid scheme. No, listen. But truly, it is. The polite way of saying that is we're always arriving. But here, Hollywood offers a lot of opportunities to tell stories, but too often the voices of those with the lived experiences are not being heard. And that's why this film, Survivor Made, is so unique. It is a film made for survivors by survivors, demonstrating what's possible for survivors. And I have to tell you that it was, in fact, working on this film that allowed me to realize that I, too, am a survivor of domestic violence. This film, for me, is once again proof of how art helps us heal and saves lives. Now, this film was directed by the incredible Drew Denny. Unfortunately, Drew could not be here with us tonight. She sends her love, and she's working hard to get the film ready for its November release. Here's who's in the movie. The stories of 6 survivors. But there's a spoiler alert, all right? The film does not focus on the abuse that the survivors endured. I know, isn't that revolutionary? Instead, the film will focus on the challenges and you can clap for that! The film will focus on the challenges and the triumphs as entrepreneurs, parents, and individuals the survivors face. Now, the other thing is I know some of you have to leave. I know some of you are not leaving your spot at all for the talk back. But please stick around if you can, because we will have a talk back with some of the Survivor Made team, both including subjects from the film and some of the film team themselves. And if there's one thing I can ask of you tonight, it is that you will see a QR code later on during the talk back. If you could scan the QR code, take the survey, take a picture of it so you can do it later if you want in the privacy of your own pajamas. It's a super quick survey, but it'll help get your voice into future screenings and help give us feedback, because this film, we're gonna share it with audiences around the country this November. And if you have thoughts on how to do it better, please let us know, or place cities that you think matters, or organizations that just really, it's really helpful. So look for the QR code. All right, enough of me. Give me a microphone. I'll never leave a stage. You're laughing because it's true. But now it's time to share for the first time on a big screen in front of an audience the sneak peek screening of Survivor Made. Please enjoy.
All right, everyone. Well, that was amazing. We honestly want to do that again. Cherry, get up for a second. Cherry is not on stage with us, but she is absolutely incredible. What a powerful film. So hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Justice. I have the honor to be your 2024 conference chair. And we are so glad that you were here tonight for this incredible screening. You know, it was almost more than 5 years ago, that I heard the term survivor wealth for the very first time at the Survivor Wealth Summit that Free From hosted. And I thought, what a revolutionary term. And then I never thought my life would be revolutionized by it, and that it would begin to change the way this entire country looks at not just economic abuse, but survivor wealth. And so what an incredible journey this has been, and to even be seeing it from a distance has been incredible. So we're gonna have a brief but meaningful talk back tonight, and I have the honor of moderating this evening. And let's give these amazing folks another round of applause. So I'm gonna sit down as ladylike as possible. We're gonna start with introductions. Sonia, none needed, but go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sonia Patsy. I'm the founder and CEO of Free From. I am so grateful to you all for coming to watch this film. It's very emotional. I've never seen it with anyone but myself. Thank you for being here, and thank you for hosting us.
Woo!
Hi, my name is Andrea Wilson Mirza. I had the absolute privilege of producing this film with my producing partner, Samantha Curley, and an incredible team, including Fazia, who you saw earlier. And so grateful to be here in this moment, share this with all of you. Thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna Zimmerman, and I am the director of Gifted and the owner of Early Greetings, and I am so honored and thankful for being here tonight.
Good evening. My name is Sharice Kimbrough. I'm the program officer at the Allstate Foundation. We are proud sponsors of the film that you all just watched, and it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, Sonia, we're going to start with you. So this question sounds silly. With so much happening in the world today, no code behind that at all, why is Survivor made the right film for this moment? And what can each of us do to support this incredible piece of art that you've put out?
You know, Fazia talked a little bit about this in her introduction. All of our visual representations of survivors are violence. Violence, pain, tragedy. But the problem is that makes people turn away from the issue. So it perpetuates the shame, it perpetuates the stigma, it perpetuates the not having solutions to the problem. It perpetuates the systemic nature of it. And as survivors, we don't need to see any more violence. So who are these shows being made for? Because they're not being made for us. And this is for survivors by survivors. And I said this to someone on my team the other day. I've now watched it, first I was in it, and then I've watched it maybe like 100 times at this point. And every time I watch it, I feel like the most human I've ever felt. And I think this film and the Gifted community and everything it stands for and believes in and is working towards is the very best of humanity. So in this moment, with so much going on, and with it feeling like every day we're in crisis, because every day we are as a globe, to watch something that reminds us of our humanity is so necessary to bring us back to ourselves and put us in a position to be able to build a better world. Thank you. In terms of what you can do to support the film, tell everyone you know. We are doing a screening in Austin October 28th. And then we are doing screenings in LA, San Francisco, Seattle, New York, DC in November. And then the weekend before Thanksgiving, this film is available for free for anyone to watch online. So tell everyone you know, because our main goal with this film is we want as many people to watch it as possible. We want people to see themselves in this film, and we want people to see that there is life after abuse. I think in our society, we think that this is something that just will always be, because the story always stops with the pain and the tragedy and the violence. And if people can see this and rewire their brains and their understanding of this problem, if they can see a vision of what could be, we'll really be able to make some society-wide change.
Thank you, Sonia. So, Andrea, the next question is to you. And you know, we're kind of sitting in this interesting moment where in TV and streaming and film, we're seeing domestic violence pulled into storylines more and more. And yet so many times the complexities are missed, right? And we're sitting here as, you know, It Ends With Us was a film that sparked a lot of conversation. I really want to talk to you about what were some of the intentional decisions that you made to set Survivor Made apart from other films, to handle that complexity, to handle the stories of survivors with care, and to really end gender-based violence with this storytelling.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, the entertainment industry has a lot of systemic problems as well. And it can't be resolved by one project. And as a producer, I know that truth in my work every day. And the most we can hope to do is to shift the culture through each individual project, as well as our advocacy. And with this film, we knew from the beginning it was going to be Survivor Made. So from the very, very beginning stages of, you know, meeting with directors to, you know, see who could come on board and to start to build that team, that was vitally important for us. Because to your point about when we see these stories often in mass media, in, you know, those types of representations, survivors typically aren't involved. And there are so few women directors working at that level in Hollywood. And so we felt with this doc, we really had an opportunity to build that team, to do it in an informed and intentional way from moment one. So that's what we did. Drew, our director, who is a survivor and has made exceptional work about her experiences as a survivor, she really wanted to move through the entire process in kind of an innovative way. Shooting film, you know, we work these really long days, we work exploitative hours, you know, the wages often aren't great. And with this film, we wanted to be a counter to that. So that meant when we were shooting with all of the incredible people in the documentary, we tried to limit the number of hours we would shoot each day, move with care, move with consent with everyone that was involved at every level, including, you know, showing the film to the people that were in it at various stages of the process. And, you know, so much of what shows in the film about how Gifted works and how we think workplaces should work really showed up in the making of this film as well. We wanted it to be community-driven. We don't do this work alone, we do it together. And so that was also brought in through every step of the way and every stage of the process. And to Sonia's point about the distribution, you know, there are so many gates and so many barriers and so many walls in how films get to audiences or don't get to audiences. Sometimes you don't even know, why didn't I hear about that film? So with this one, we want to take all of that away and give it to the people because that's who it's for. You know, that's why we made it in this way. So it was an intentional process from the very, very beginning, all the way to this moment where we're sharing it with you.
Great, thank you so much. Well, another star of the film, Anna, let's give her just an amazing round of applause. Incredible, yes, yes, on your feet, on your feet. So, Anna, first of all, I mean, just an incredible person, right? I mean, I am in awe of you now, and I'm going to be your fangirl for the rest of your life, so I hope you're ready. Can you share how your business, and I don't even just want to say your business, I just want to say, like, your business and who you are as a leader and a person and an entrepreneur and, like, a real, like, kick-ass woman, like, amazing. Yeah, that's right. We say bad words at this conference. Can you tell me how it's contributed to both your financial stability and your healing, and particularly at this stage in your journey? And how did you know when you were ready to start your own business?
Thank you so much for the question. I have my little notes. I realized I wanted to start my business when I was still living in the shelter, mainly because at the time I didn't qualify for government benefits because of my citizenship status. And I was thinking, why can't I just sell something that I love making? And I always love making greeting cards. And with the entrepreneurship program from Freefrom, that's when my idea became my business. And ever since, owning my own business has helped me tremendously heal, not only in every emotional way, but also in every financial way, because I was able to have a supplement income to help raise my kids. My income from my business is the extra that I need because I've been a single parent for such a long time, and it's incredibly expensive to raise kids, especially in LA. Also, running my own business has given me a lot of opportunities for growth and a lot of opportunities to experience new things. And I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunities that I've had, and being able to support my daughters financially makes me feel empowered, makes me feel like a superwoman. And I love sharing everything with them. They see me work and they see, what are you doing today, Mom? What kind of cards are you making today? And now they're even sometimes helping me. They help me at the gifted market. They were selling my cards right there. So
It's true. Elena
Yes.
overcharged me.
Yes. And even until today, making cards, it's a therapeutic thing for me. When everybody's asleep, I just go, everything's quiet, put on my favorite movies, and start creating cards. It's the blank piece of paper is my canvas, and it's just incredibly healing, and I am so grateful and thankful for the opportunity and for sharing my story here with everybody.
Thank you. So my next question is for Charisse, but I have to say a couple things about Charisse and the Allstate Foundation first. You know, I know that we talked about them at the opening reception, but I really want to say the Allstate Foundation was in this space before it was ever even remotely common or popular to do so. They were doing it before people were demanding that it be done. And I think that we need to honor the fact that they have been in this space so long and that they have embodied what it means to be a true partner. But then Charisse came along. And Charisse moved in this space of trust and allowing her partners to dream. And that's what you saw tonight. You saw a dream on the screen. And that's because you give us the space to do that, and not many partners do. I also called her and said, "What are you wearing?" Because my God, woman, you will not show me up one more time. And she did, because she always does. So Charisse, talk to us about the Allstate Foundation. What was it like for you to bring this film to life, to be a partner in it, and be a funder of it? What do you think stories like this bring to the world? What did you learn about measuring impact and funding on bold initiatives and dreams?
Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Crystal, for that powerful acknowledgement of the work of the Allstate Foundation. And I think it's because the foundation has been in this work for so long. It tells us, right, we've invested, Kate said earlier, $100 million, that we can't fix this problem just by supporting survivors, which we do, by supporting advocates, which we do, by supporting organizations that support survivors and advocates. That we do really need to have this culture change. And we do that through narrative shift, right? And so because this problem is so persistent and it's so pervasive, you know, we heard saw in the video, in the movie, that 99% of folks experience financial abuse, that it's the #1 barrier to survivor safety. So we have to do something to change the systems that allow it to persist, right? We have to do something to change the people's mindsets around survivors, around who it happens to, who matters, and what that looks like. And so we have to move it from being those people over there or those poor ladies over here, and let everyone see themselves in the film, let everyone know what's possible, help folks move from the shame narrative to an empowered narrative, so people can move forward and thrive. And I think for me, it's been so inspirational since I got introduced to Sonia and her work at Free From, just the expansive thinking that she embodies, that I think can translate for all of us, no matter, you know, in funding, in our workplaces, in our advocacy. So it's so important and so rare. And it shouldn't be rare. Like that kind of community, you know, when Anna comes in, how is everybody, Cherry? How's everybody? I'm like, wow, they really care about how everybody's doing at work. And that should be normal, right? But it's not. And like Sonia talked about the benefits and the care and just the living wages, the thriving wages. These are things that are not common, but they should be. And so as a funder, it's, you know, narrative change and culture shift is hard to measure. It's not something that happens on the short term. It's a long term. But you have to take this long-term problem, needs a long-term solution. And so we can't just look for a quick fix for something that's so important.
Thank you, Cherie. All right, so I'm going to ask each of you to answer this question, and we'll start back with you, Sonia, and just kind of go down our row here. So Survivor Made shows how small acts can drive meaningful change. What's one simple but specific step that someone in tonight's audience can take to support survivors?
Well, actually, I was sitting here thinking, do people remember about the QR code? Thank you very much. I think we all probably have somebody in our life right now that we know, maybe they know, or maybe they've come to consciousness of it, that they're experiencing violence. And we all have that moment where we don't know, is it our place to say anything? What do we do? How do we help? How can we, sometimes I have this thought, how do we still be friends? Which is exactly how the violence thrives. And I think the easiest thing to do is just remember they're just a human being. And just reach out and say, how are you? And just take those little steps every time you talk to them to just engage and do everything in your power to fight the urge to turn away from the situation because you feel so hopeless in it.
In the process of making this documentary, which took a few years, we had several crew members who came to realize through being in community and making this film that they were actually in abusive situations. And those individuals had to find a way to leave their situation. And in some cases that involved other crew members housing them, supporting them, taking them into community. And to Charisse's point, one of the things that helped them to realize that truth was the multiplicity of stories represented in the film, because media often tells us that abuse looks one way, and we all know that that is not the case. And so I think when I think about an action, something actionable, I do think about the workplace. You know, because Gifted and Free From, you know, as nonprofits and social enterprise, what they're able to do, how everyone is able to treat each other and show up for each other, what we aim to do with this one film to create a workplace where people felt safe that they could tell their fellow crew member, I'm going through this. I think really understanding the power that we all have in our own workplaces to create that space, whether that's through policy change or just showing up for each other and being present for each other, is something that I would share.
I have two things. One, shop at Gifted. And also, one of the reasons why I participated in the Survivor Made documentary is because I believe that sharing my story can reach somebody that can make a change. And so I encourage everybody to, in the room tonight, that it's a survivor, and to scan the QR code and share in the survey your story, because every single survivor story is unique and it's important, and we all together can create more impact and more solutions for other people out there who are in this journey and situation, and we can help them make a change.
Well, everybody took all of mine. But just to say, you know, in some respect, I know I was going to say, like, what if someone tells you their experience, to believe them? But this is, I'm like preaching to the choir. Everybody here knows that already. But I will reiterate the Shop at Gifted, and we'll say that the products I've personally used them, bought them, gifted them. They are wonderful, fabulous. You're doing yourself a favor by purchasing them. So I'll give a hearty endorsement of Gifted products.
Yes, I was going to say, in your conference merch bag, there is a Gifted soap. So thank you to Charisse and the Allstate Foundation.
Yeah, and so the soaps that you have in your conference bags were made by Jess, who you see in the film.
It's incredible. All right, so we're going to have our last question. We're going to direct it to you, Sonia. I want to say something about Sonia for a second. I really do. You meet people that come into your life in small ways and in big ways who have a way just to kind of pierce to the truth. And they simplify it. And I was at a real moment 11 months ago in my life, and I remember I was on a Zoom, and her power translates through Zoom. And we had finished the meeting, and it was just the both of us, and she looked at me and she said, "Do you think you should be doing all of this?" And she meant kind of professional and personal. And for months, I thought, should I be doing all of this? The answer was no. It led to some life-changing decisions, so I blame them on you. But that's just the type of person that she is. And when Sonia says something, not only does it pierce through to the truth, but she does it with all the care and compassion behind that. Part of what I love about the work of Free From, not only to build wealth for survivors, is to move the field away from a scarcity mindset, which needs to happen. And in that, we need the space to dream. So I know that tonight we have incredible leaders, and we're all leaders, right? You all are leading in the work, no matter the role that you play in your organizations, as a survivor, as a funder, as a stakeholder, but all of these leaders who support survivors every day. How can agency leaders or any leaders foster a culture of possibility, dare I say dream, within survivor programs while balancing the urgent demands of crisis services? Just a teensy tiny question.
Yeah. A lot of thoughts are coming to mind. The first is, no doubt, as an agency leader, as someone who's been doing the work in this field, you are naturally inclined to be a caregiver. And all of that energy right now is going to caregiving for your clients. And I think sometimes it's a helpful reframe to remember that you're not just serving survivors, you're employing survivors. And if you can sort of do that little reframe, then that caregiving goes across the entire organization. I think the second thing I would say is put pressure on your funders. And when we are collectively putting pressure on our funders to fund this work at a living wage, to fund overtime, to fund health care, to fund benefits, they will. And the third thing I'd say is we are very often just sort of like programmed to do what everyone else is doing. And what everyone else is doing as employees in the United States of America is trash. And, you know, I say in the film, no one can afford to be safe and well on a minimum wage. No one can afford to be safe and well when they don't have health care. No one can afford to be safe and well when they have no time off. And where you find yourself doing something because that's what everyone else does, or where you find yourself making the argument, but I'm not the only one, or that's how this goes, or just like take a second and be like, but should it be? Do I want that? Does that sound right? It might sound popular, but does it sound right? And then I think the last thing I'd say, I up until maybe 5 years ago at the summit was the breaking point for me. I was a workaholic. It was how I coped through my trauma. It was how I survived my childhood. It was all I knew. And then I became an employer, and I watched my staff just doing what I did. And that was the breaking point for me, was I don't want them to overwork. I want them to be well. I want them to take care of themselves. And so it forced me to do it for myself. So if you are an agency leader who is overworked, overburdened, completely burnt out, not taking care of yourself, start by treating yourself abundantly, and the rest will follow.
Wow. All right, well, thank you so much for staying with us tonight. Just a few things that we want to mention. First of all, the QR code is really important, so if you haven't taken a picture, take a picture of the QR code. SurvivorMade.com, y'all ain't gonna miss a goal anymore. Like, we are in it to win it. Shop Survivor Made for sure, or shop Gifted for sure. And then I really want to say that if we really do believe that survivor wealth is the answer. And the Survivor Wealth Summit is coming back in 2025 in August. Yes, so please stay tuned for information. If you didn't have the opportunity to attend the first one, please make sure that you do. So much has happened. And then lastly, I want to say we understand that it is a short walk, but still a walk without daylight back to the hotel. So for those of you who want to make sure to walk in groups, or if you would like a staff member to accompany you, hotline and conference staff will be at the back of the room, so I will ask that staff kind of make their way to the back. So we can escort groups back to the hotel. We want everyone to feel safe as we make our way back. But I just want to say to all of you, thank you. How incredible this was. Thank you for allowing us to screen it at the conference. This has been incredibly special. Let's give another round to our panelists.